Hello, Rantbox TV watchers. It is Friday yet again, and here I am about to talk about politics, in particular the US election, with my friend Ola from Ola's Cool Kitchen. How are you, Ola?
Hey man, let's rock.
Okay. Let's be real open about this. We haven't discussed politics that much between you and I, and you've got quite a bit to say on what's going on in the US. Go for it. Where would you like to start?
Okay, well, I actually, this is to do with our Facebook messaging, and I wanted to talk about this. When you said to me that the way the country is split on the votes, you said to me that the fact that there isn't more people rejecting Trump that you thought would be, it's just like almost in the middle. You said that this was a rejection of socialism. And I actually want to say that I disagree with you on this point. That's not what that is. I mean, first of all, Joe Biden is no socialist. He's a center-right candidate. He's good friends with Mitch McConnell. They used to, like when Obama would get into trouble, when Mitch McConnell would try and obstruct Obama, Biden would go down because he knows him from the Senate. What this is you're seeing not like a rejection of socialism, because these are very centrist people, and when they ran the campaign, they went very centrist kind of message. There's nothing radical about Joe Biden. I mean, yeah, Trump tried to play it that way, and some people believed him, and like the population in Miami believed that was the case because they were Cubans afraid of communism. But for the most part, a lot of the people who voted for Trump, this is a division within the country. There's articles that saying, this is not who we are, but actually half of the country, this is who they are.
More of what I said.
Say again, what did you say?
I want to clarify more of what I said. I feel that there's been a pushback against socialism through people who will vote for Trump, through people who will vote, unfortunately, they've only got Biden as the other person that they can vote for. So I don't mean that Biden is a socialist, not at all. In fact, they're far less centrist than I think you've given them credit for.
No. I know about what Biden's voting record. I think you don't realize you realize that Biden voted for a lot of the laws that incarcerated Black African Americans.
In the 90s, yes, and in
the 90s. He's not interested in Medicare for all. He's not even running on that platform. Kamala Harris.
I'm not saying that he is.
Kamala Harris, when she was running for president, she did, but she's toned down her rhetoric to run with Biden.
Yeah, I think Biden uses political candidates of color to suggest that he has gone beyond that time. He's since I think.
Well, yeah, it was a strategic move.
Yeah.
To have a female woman of color, to try and rile the Democratic base without going too far to the left.
Yeah.
And you'll see in the election, the results that a lot of black women came out. They came out for the vote. They always come out for the vote. They're the ones that are like the conscience of the country, I think. But that's the point. The country is divided. This stuff is present. And, depending on who comes next in the Republican Party, there's talk of Trump again, Trump Jr. I don't know. Trumpism isn't dead. Let's put it that way. It's not dead, and it's not about socialism. This is about something deeper. And I really think this is super, super important for Americans and English people and just anybody who has a socialist, or I'm not really what I call a socialist. I'm a capitalist with socialist tendencies.
Okay.
I dig some ideas of capitalism, but we need a safety net. We need a safety net because I've seen pure communism because I've been to Poland, 1987. It wasn't good, man. It really wasn't good because it was corrupted. I mean, it was corrupted. Stalin just, no. That didn't work. It's got to be a mix. But I think people need to be open to the safety net. You know, I'll give you an example though. America is open to these ideas. Like, did you ever remember when Bernie Sanders did a town hall on Fox News? You remember that? Oh, that was interesting because like everybody, just before everybody's like, oh no, they're gonna rip him. He was a hit. The people on Fox News, he did well at the town hall and he did well with Fox News. Do you know why? Because there are disgruntled, I guess you could say, white people who feel like they're left behind, right? And the reason why they're left behind is because of the 80s, because of like in the 70s and before that, if you had like if you had a regular job, you could own a house. You can still do this in Australia. You could work at McDonald's and then you can pay your rent, no problem. You can own a house. You get a fair wage, and this applies to England as well. And that's why I was watching Mary Hartman, which is a soap opera so it was a cult soap opera from 1976 by Norman Lear, and it's really funny. But you see her, she's a housewife, and the guy, her husband, works at a factory, and they have a house. That's what's changed. Yeah, like you're not going to get all the people now are never going to be able to own their own property. They're not getting able to afford their rent. They're depending on their parents who own the property, who were able to do so in the 70s and the 60s or whatever. They were, because it wasn't centered in this, people are making tons of money from renting. And we need to change that. And that's what those people responded to in the Fox News thing. But, they're responding to Bernie's message. But they're also responding to Trump's message because it's angry and insecure. These people feel angry and insecure. So the way they feel better is by embracing racism or, back to the way it used to be. They are nostalgic. They are nostalgic to something. Some of them are racist, by the way. Some of them are just pure out racist. But most of them are economically nostalgic. They want to go back to that time where you could just work. You could, even one person in the household could just earn enough to support a family, if that's the case. There's no reason, why we should pay so much money for a huge CEO, and all the money goes there, yet people who work an honest job can't afford a house, can't afford the basics, who work, it doesn't matter what that job is. It doesn't matter if it's a rubbish man, or it doesn't matter if you're working at McDonald's, or it doesn't matter, you need a fair wage. Just like a CEO, a lot of these CEOs get these huge packages for failing. Or like those guys who ruined the train networks in England and then got a bonus, Christmas bonus, zillions of pounds. And you're just like, what? So they're using the division, the racism, and they're just feeding it to those angry white people, mostly guys, and the sex, even the sexism. They're just using, and the Democratic Party has to address this. The Democrat has to reach these people, and that's the only way we're going to heal the divisions of this country, because the Republicans are just going to run on this populist, racist, I'm an angry white guy, instead of actually helping them financially. Very interesting. Are you familiar with Noam Chomsky?
Yes.
Yeah. So I watched this video about Noam Chomsky, and he just talked about how the Republican Party had absolutely nothing, no ideology. It was just a bunch of rich guys trying to stay rich. And this is my my dumbed down version of this. Yeah, he does that. It wasn't quite like what he said, but he said what they did was they latched onto these culture things to appear like the evangelicals and their religious vendetta. Dick Cheney had a gay daughter. And well, he protected his gay daughter while, putting in legislation to appease these evangelical, these anti-LGBT, homosexuality, Christian, whatever people. They don't believe this stuff. They just did it so they could keep the money that they have. And I think that's going to be addressed. They've latched on to these cultural wars. They've flirted with the Ku Klux Klan. No surprise that that's what's happened here. Trying to get, for years, Southern Democrats would vote Democrat because the party of Lincoln was a Republican. Well, they would vote against their own self, like they would vote just out of spite. They voted Democrat. I mean, it took them a couple hundred years to clock on, but but I'm just saying that that's what needs to be addressed. And obviously we have the same problem here. And here I want to talk about Britain first. My version of Britain first. Wait, you hear my version of Britain first, okay? Because I am Britain first. But wait till you hear what I got to say about Britain first. Let's talk about London and property, right? Here's the deal. Most of the people who own property in London are foreigners, rich oligarchs. They're the ones that prevent us from having the housing that we need. So instead of doing the Tommy Robinson thing, where you're like, Muslim, why don't we focus all that angry white guy stuff and everybody else on the real people robbing us? We want to do something for Britain first? Let's limit the oligarchs and their ability to own property. Did you see that article in The Guardian about the Saudi Arabian, I think it was the Saudi Arabian family, that prince, it was somebody like that, and he just owns tons of property in London. Rich property. I think it was Saudi Arabia. It was some kind of Middle Eastern prince. I think it was him, the Saudi Arabia. Anyway, why are we not saying Britain first? Yeah, oligarchs out, off of our property. We should have control, or it should be in the hands of councils, more property in the hands of councils, and English people, British people, whatever. Okay, that's my version of Britain first, Tommy Robinson.
I wanted to say
stop looking at the Muslim. Sorry, stop looking at the Muslim. Stop pointing. It's like sleight of hand, right? While this is going on, let's attack so and so. Sorry, what were you gonna say? I got excited.
Well, it's good that you know how to rant in Rantbox TV. What I was going to say is that there's been a gradual shift in our choices, political choices, to the right, and that has been a rejection of socialism, and that is happening in the UK as well as we can see as in the US. I wanted to know, do you feel like a situation like the pandemic, which has seen the Conservatives in the UK adopt some socialist attitudes in terms of how they look after people in terms of money, do you think that will occur in the US as well, or do you think that's not going to happen?
Well, this is a very interesting question because of first of all, who becomes president, and also let's say we got a Biden presidency. We got a problem because Mitch McConnell is in control of the Senate. So basically McConnell was able to block everything that Obama tried to do. That's how we got all the Supreme Court even though the country itself is not, the majority of the people are liberal and believe abortion and whatever should be a right. This is not the majority of Americans. This is a minority. And the reason why they're through one vote, one fucking seat in the House of the Senate Mitch McConnell has created this shit. And it's very possible that Biden will want to put forward a relief package, but Mitch McConnell may not. I mean, I've read the interesting things that because Biden and Mitch McConnell have this relationship, they might be able to do some things. They might be able to work together. Biden has already stressed that he wants to work with the other side So maybe it just depends. I mean, I've already read that Biden wanted to bring in a more progressive cabinet, but Mitch McConnell will block it in the Senate. So we probably have a more centrist cabinet. He's going to bring people in that will please. I've read that. It's just because that one fucker has control. So it really depends on, unless there's supposed to be a couple of runoff elections and there's a change. Because if you're going to vote in America, vote the entire ticket. You need to vote House and Senate. Otherwise, it doesn't matter who you. I mean, in this case, it did matter more than usual because I don't want Trump again. I'd rather have a lame duck Democrat in than Trump. That's just shit. It's not just the racism and everything, it's also the incompetence, the sheer incompetence. Now, interestingly enough, this is really interesting what happened here, is this is what if Jeremy Corbyn had won, he would have done the same thing. But what would have happened? The Tory press would have attacked him left, right, and center for locking down, saying he's a socialist when he was trying to. But Boris did what Jeremy did, but less so. So here we are, the arts. I'm out of work. I'm miserable. Loads of people in the arts are miserable and suffering. The furlough scheme of self-employed people is absolutely rubbish. It's tiny. It's music venues are just about to close. There's no gigs practically. There was no festivals this year. Bloody not English. Bloody not British. Right? I never thought I'd see this. I never thought I'd see the day. So I think that's very interesting. But had another Tory been in charge, we probably wouldn't have had a furlough scheme. And who knows how many as soon as this happened, Boris Johnson suddenly said, hey, we should get these homeless people into something. And I was like, what? But actually, I'm not surprised because, and I've read this as well, that Boris Johnson, while he's got a lot of narcissism and he's obviously not meant for the job as prime minister, he's like Trump. He's like a carnival guy, that turns up and goes, hey, 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 and completely incompetent. But he's actually quite liberal. He just took the Brexit train because he thought that was a way to get ahead, and I don't think he even believed it. He just went, yeah. And now, and I want to say this is really important, okay? There are people that are going to make money off Brexit, and they're going to take our country so they can make money. These are the people who are part of the Brexit train. They're the ones that are going to make the money from the trade deals. They're going to make these, that's going on right now, and they don't care. These are the Tory Brexiteers. This is going to be really interesting. We have, 2 months before Brexit rolls in? We've already lived through the hell of the pandemic, and we had our first taste of queuing for food and whatever, people steal. Oh my God, I got to get loads of toilet paper. What the hell, man? Just get what you need. If you didn't hog it, we'd all have it. Stupid, whatever. And, now, 2 months' time, my God, we don't know if we're going to get vegetables. We're going to have medicine shortages. My husband did this book about when the Soviet Union collapsed, a whole bunch of countries suddenly came into existence, like Georgia and Kazakhstan. Yeah. By the way, I've been to Kazakhstan. None of the people look like Borat. Okay? They don't look like that. That's totally wrong. They're like, they're like Mongolian, like Genghis Khan kind of Asian looking people.
I think people know that though. Borat is.
No, they really don't. I don't think so when the first Borat came out.
Yeah, but we're in a post-Borat world now, so essentially we know enough of what was going on then.
Sacha Baron was just a bit. Anyway, I'm going off base, but this is really interesting. The people of Georgia who have this, they've become a separate country, but Russia is encroaching on them, right? Encroaching on them. There's wars, there's tariff things, and they want to get control of Georgia again. And the people of Georgia were like, when they saw the Brexit, it's like voting to be part of the Soviet Union. Why? And that's what we'll have. Come in January, we'll have queues just like 1980s Soviet state. Good times. Okay. Yeah, where was I?
Well, I did want to know more about how you thought this gradual shift to the right was going to be impacted by the need for socialism in the US when it comes to the pandemic. But if you don't have anything more to say on that, then we can round it off.
Yeah, I think so. Because but like I said, Boris Johnson. I'm gonna go back to that Boris Johnson thing. Was actually far more liberal. Well, he's just liberal. And if we have, this is the thing. I can't stand Boris Johnson, but I'm frightened because we'll get like a real Tory next, and then it will be like Victorian poorhouses. You know, I've managed to survive because Boris Johnson is actually kind of liberal at heart. I found this photo. You know, he was born in America in the Chelsea Hotel, at the height of the Chelsea Hotel being this music place. There's a picture of him and his family in the 70s, and you should see him. He's got his long hair, flares. He's like a total long-haired fuzzy hippie. And I mean, if you look at him now in Parliament, he still can't manage to comb. He might be shorter, but he still can't manage to comb his hair.
I don't know about that, because essentially you do have people who will dress a certain way because they know that that has a certain cultural impact on their initial circle. Doesn't mean that they have those politics. I mean, you can go.
No, I'm not saying he is liberal-minded. I'm not saying he's not a conservative, but he's a liberal conservative, and he grew up. You can see he's not like a typical politician. He has no discipline. He's actually more like an artist. You know, all he wants is praise and like accolades. And you know, he's a performer, not a politician. A politician needs to work for the people, needs to care about the people. He needs to also be meticulous. You know, like somebody like some of the other Tories, they're actually, you know, meticulous. Like Theresa May, for example. That woman, give or take what you may think of her politically, you know, did what she had to do. You know, got up, read the stuff, didn't just go, ooh. You know, she took the time to seriously consider shit and do the job. You know, I'm not saying she was good at it. I'm not saying I like what she did, but you know what I mean? It's the same as like the difference between Obama and Trump. Obama got up, he read all the stuff, he did the job. Trump got up and went, had a burger, watched TV, went, That's it. You know, and Boris Johnson is the same way. He missed 5 Cobra meetings before the lockdown. He's too busy having a baby. He's been complaining that he's not making enough money on his MP salary. That he make more money doing speeches. And you can see he would just go and never have looked at anything, or I don't know how he makes his decisions, but it's kind of like he's a fucking long-haired hippie.
I want to know, I'm sure that your viewers want to know, where can they
not a good one either, just a shit one. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you for ranting, Ola. Where can people find your radio station should they choose to be inspired to listen to new music that I'm sure you can turn them on to?
Mixcloud, SoundCloud, iTunes, Podomatic, Heartthis, Stitcher, Spreaker. Just search All Is Cool Kitchen, and that's cool with a K.
Okay, and there is maybe a 2-minute version of you telling people what the station is about. This would be a time to make that happen.
What, a 2-minute version of?
Tell us what the show is. Like, I could talk about it, but I'm thinking that you really want to rant, and who am I to get in your way?
You know, can you add things to this?
No,
like, can you add a video?
Now. Just tell us what it is.
Because I have a video on YouTube that has me dancing, and it tells you what it's all about.
So you reckon I should put that link in the description? So it's there right now, guys. Check out Ola's dancing, and she will, through her dance, her interpretive dance, tell you about her radio show. You heard it here first.
It
This is how
is.
the
You should take a
people
look at
vote.
it. Yeah. But I will tell you, it's an eclectic ride through both time and space. It's probably more rock guitar and oriented than anything else, but good music has no boundaries.
Thank you so much, Ola. May the force be with you.